IKEA. The Swedish flat-pack empire that promised affordable design and turned home decor into a global endurance sport. It's the place where minimalism meets moral confusion, where every meatball hides a mystery, and every shelf could double as a lawsuit. From Cold War labor scandals to modern deforestation, IKEA somehow made affordable furniture the most complicated moral puzzle on Earth. Grab your Allen wrench and emotional support meatballs, and let's dive into everything wrong with IKEA. Sorry to interrupt, but if you can survive assembling an IKEA bookshelf without crying, you can definitely handle subscribing. The relationship test zone. They say love conquers all, except IKEA on a Saturday. The store is basically a psychological experiment disguised as a furniture maze. Couples walk in holding hands and leave questioning everything, including whether they even like each other's taste in lamps, navigating endless aisles, deciphering unpronounceable product names, and arguing over which sofa fits the vibe has ended more relationships than long distance ever could. By the time you've survived checkout and flat pack assembly, you're not just buying furniture, you're surviving couples therapy without the therapist. IKEA doesn't sell furniture, it sells emotional endurance. The maze design conspiracy. You think IKEA's store layout is random? Think again. The entire building is a masterclass in psychological manipulation. Every turn, every arrow, every Swedish word you can't pronounce is designed to make you wander longer and buy more. You came for one bookshelf, but you're leaving with 50 tea light candles, 3 plants, and a rug you don't need. The store is an infinite loop of temptation, and once you enter, escaping feels like breaking out of a cheerful Scandinavian labyrinth. The real horror story? You'll do it all again next month. The missing screw phenomenon. No matter how careful you are, every IKEA product is missing something. A screw, a dowel, or most importantly, your sanity. You triple check the packaging, search under the couch, and still come up short. Somehow, IKEA's instructions always include parts you don't have and diagrams that make you question geometry itself. You call it frustration. IKEA calls it customer engagement. The missing screw isn't a design flaw. It's part of the ritual. It's how you earn your badge as a true IKEA survivor. The meatball cult. Forget furniture. The real reason people go to IKEA is the cafeteria. Those Swedish meatballs have achieved near-religious status. Shoppers brave warehouse chaos just for a plate of meatballs and lingonberry sauce, as if carbs can heal assembly trauma. For a brand that sells chairs, IKEA's biggest fan base worships its lunch menu. It's so iconic that people joke the store is one giant food court with a side of furniture. The irony? The kitchen line is the only place where everyone agrees on assembly. Fork, mouth, happiness. Until someone reminds you of the horse meat scandal, and suddenly your Swedish comfort meal comes with an existential crisis. Prison labor. In the Cold War era, IKEA's minimalist furniture came with maximum human cost. Investigations revealed that East German political prisoners were used to produce IKEA furniture in the 1970s and 80s. While customers admired affordable Scandinavian craftsmanship, dissidents were forced into labor under brutal conditions. IKEA later admitted the exploitation and contributed €6 million to a victims fund, which barely scratched the surface of decades of suffering. The scandal exposed how deep corporate supply chains can sink when cheap labor meets political repression. IKEA wasn't alone. Dozens of companies did the same. But its global fame made it the face of profit over principle. Every Billy bookcase built during that era carried more than books. It carried history's guilt. Cuban connections. During the same Cold War years, IKEA's global reach stretched all the way to Cuba. Reports suggest the company sourced products from factories tied to political prisoners through East German trade networks. While IKEA denied direct involvement, the connections painted an uncomfortable picture. Furniture forged by the oppressed. It was geopolitics meets home decor, where prison labor and tropical communism briefly shared a business plan. Customers got Swedish simplicity, but behind the scenes, the system was tangled in dictatorship logistics. It's hard to enjoy a minimalist coffee table knowing it may have passed through Havana shadows. IKEA mastered affordable design, but apparently ethics weren't part of the assembly instructions. child labor. Those cozy IKEA rugs hiding under your coffee table once came with a dark secret. In 1994, a Swedish documentary exposed that many were woven by debt-bonded children in Pakistan. Young workers spent endless hours crafting the carpets that brightened Scandinavian living rooms. IKEA scrambled to cut ties and promised strict new standards, but the scandal revealed the cost of chasing cheap production. The rugs were soft, but the reality behind them was harsh. It forced IKEA to launch child labor monitoring systems and join global initiatives. Yet critics argued the response was too late. The company built its reputation on family-friendly warmth while standing on the backs of exploited children. Those colorful patterns came with a story no parent wanted to explain. Siberian sins. In 2021, Earthside investigators discovered that IKEA was selling children's furniture made from illegally logged wood in Siberia. Protected forests, home to endangered species, had been stripped to feed the global appetite for flat-pack minimalism. IKEA's sustainability promises began to sound hollow as footage revealed clear-cut wilderness turned into budget bookcases. The company insisted on legal sourcing, but evidence said otherwise. Environmentalists called it greenwashing at industrial scale. Trees that took centuries to grow became particle board panels within months. IKEA's branding preaches harmony with nature, yet its supply chain tells a story of destruction disguised as design. The next time someone says IKEA furniture is renewable, remind them the forest isn't. Romanian roots. Fast forward to 2024, and Greenpeace revealed that IKEA suppliers were again caught in deforestation scandals, this time in Romania's Carpathian forests. Drones filmed massive logging in protected zones tied to IKEA's European supply chain. Officially, everything was legal. Realistically, it looked like environmental vandalism with paperwork. Ancient trees were sacrificed for modern minimalism, transforming old-growth ecosystems into nightstands. IKEA's sustainability reports read like bedtime stories while the forests vanished in daylight. For a company that markets "Bring nature inside," it seems they're taking the slogan literally, by cutting it down first. Ukrainian timber troubles. In 2023, amid war and chaos, IKEA's wood suppliers were accused of sourcing timber from Ukrainian regions lacking proper oversight. Investigators allege that wartime deforestation slipped into the supply chain through shell companies and vague certifications. IKEA denied wrongdoing, but the optics were grim. Affordable furniture born from a conflict zone. It's one thing to assemble a dresser. It's another to assemble it from disputed forests. The brand that preaches peace and sustainability somehow found itself entangled in the economics of war. If minimalism means ignoring geopolitics, IKEA perfected it. Tax dodger Deluxe. Between 2009 and 2014, IKEA allegedly dodged about $1.1 billion in taxes through creative accounting across the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Belgium. The European Parliament called it corporate gymnastics, while consumers called it hypocrisy. IKEA relied on taxpayer-funded infrastructure while quietly shifting profits through a labyrinth of shell subsidiaries. It was legal, yes, but hardly ethical. The irony is rich. A company built on straightforward assembly instructions runs one of the most complicated financial puzzles imaginable. Next time you spend an hour decoding a manual, remember, IKEA spends years decoding tax law to keep its profits flat-packed offshore. Union busting. In 2018, workers at IKEA's Stoughton, Massachusetts store accused management of union-busting tactics. Staff alleged intimidation, misinformation, and anti-union propaganda masquerading as employee communication. IKEA denied wrongdoing, but the pattern echoed worldwide. Smiling ads about equality paired with quiet resistance to collective bargaining. The company, famous for collaboration, couldn't seem to collaborate with its own workers. IKEA's marketing says everyone's part of the family. Apparently, that stops when the family asks for fair pay and representation. The irony is delicious. Assemble unity, but don't dare organize it. Lorry driver exploitation. Behind every IKEA showroom lies a supply chain driven, literally, by exhausted truckers. A 2017 UK court found IKEA liable for contractors, forcing Eastern European drivers to live in their lorries for months, earning under £3 an hour. They ate, slept, and worked from their trucks, hauling furniture for a brand built on comfort. IKEA called it an isolated issue, but the court called it exploitation. The world's most efficient delivery system was fueled by poverty wages. Those tidy boxes in stores didn't just contain furniture, they carried the fatigue of workers who couldn't afford to go home. Malm dresser. Deaths. The Malm dresser became IKEA's biggest tragedy. Between 2014 and 2016, several toddlers died when the dressers tipped over. Millions of units were recalled and refunds offered, but critics argued the company had known for years about the risk. IKEA launched safety campaigns urging parents to anchor furniture to walls, but the damage was irreversible. The company settled lawsuits worth millions. Yet the public's trust took the real fall. The Malm dresser turned from a bestseller into a symbol of corporate negligence. A stark reminder that even budget design can come at a devastating price. French spying scandal. In 2012, IKEA France was fined €1.1 million for illegally spying on staff and customers. Executives reportedly hired private investigators to dig into employees' personal records, checking credit histories, and even tracking job applicants. The revelations made the company sound less like a furniture retailer and more like a low-budget spy agency. IKEA called it an isolated incident, but prosecutors described a long-term corporate habit. Privacy, it seemed, was as optional as the screws you forget during assembly. For a brand built on transparency, IKEA's behavior was anything but see-through. Invisible women. When IKEA released its Saudi Arabian catalog in 2012, something was missing: women. They had been airbrushed out completely, leaving sanitized family scenes populated entirely by men and children. The move sparked outrage worldwide, exposing the hypocrisy of a company that promotes equality while erasing half the population to appease local norms. IKEA apologized, blaming cultural sensitivity, but the damage was done. The brand that sells mirrors somehow couldn't see its own reflection. Minimalism in furniture is fine. Minimalism in representation, not so much. Horse meatballs. 2013 brought a culinary nightmare. IKEA's famous Swedish meatballs were found to contain horse meat. Tests across Europe revealed the contamination, forcing recalls and apologies. For a company obsessed with efficiency, the supply chain oversight was alarmingly sloppy. Customers wondered what else lurked in their favorite cafeteria meal. IKEA promised tighter controls, but memes galloped across the internet faster than any PR response. The scandal turned comfort food into conspiracy fodder. Those cheerful cafeteria trays suddenly felt like crime scenes with lingonberry sauce. The lesson? Trust IKEA to furnish your home, not your dinner table. Brazilian deforestation. In 2024, watchdogs accused one of IKEA's main Brazilian suppliers, Artemobili, of illegal deforestation in the Amazon. Authorities fined the company for destroying native vegetation and burying toxic waste. IKEA pledged to investigate, but critics noted a pattern: lofty sustainability promises undermined by reckless suppliers. The Amazon, Earth's lungs, was apparently just another lumber aisle. Customers buying eco-friendly decks unknowingly supported ecological vandalism. It's the dark side of green marketing. The planet stripped bare for a minimalist aesthetic. Turns out even forests can be flat-packed for profit. And there you have it. Do you own any IKEA furniture? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.